Hello everyone. So in this short video, I want to just talk a little bit about one of the reasons or purposes for the unreal conditions I've been talking about in a lot of the recent materials. So as we've talked about before, unreal conditions are used, of course, for hypothetical situations, suppositions, imaginary situations like if we were birds, we could fly. Of course, we are not birds, so we can't fly. But we're basically just saying, oh, well, if this, then that could happen. All right. So, of course, they're great for showing imaginary situations, showing wishes, desires, things that we don't think can really happen. But they also have another very important tonal purpose. As you might remember, we've said before that tone is more than just tone of voice, right? If someone says something like, bring me water, well, my tone of voice might not sound really nasty or really bad there, but the grammar there makes the tone very bossy, commanding. It's not very polite. So tone, as we've mentioned before, is the way that our way of saying something shows the way we feel about what we're saying and the person we're saying it to. So again, it's not just tone of voice. You might remember my example from the classroom I used to use a lot. If I say something to you like, oh, thank you so much for taking my parking spot. I really enjoyed walking in the cold rain. Oh, you're such a good, nice person. You know that even though my voice sounds nice there, that from the context, I'm clearly being sarcastic. Nobody will really sincerely thank you for that kind of thing. All right, well, unreal conditions have a lot to do with tone as well. Unreal conditions can be used for showing that a person has regrets about something, especially past unreal conditions. They can be used to make polite requests, and they can also be used to very politely express dissatisfaction with something. Okay, partly because it's a little bit less direct to tell someone that you wish something could be another way than it is to just tell the person directly that you're unhappy. So I want to give you a few examples here. You have few friends because you're rude. Okay, well, that is very direct. Okay. Um, in some cultures, especially I've heard Japanese speakers say that Americans are very direct in their speech, but actually we're really polite. Americans aren't. We're very direct with positive information, like, oh, you look so cute today. Okay, that's pretty direct. And that's not so bad in English. You look nice. That's a nice shirt. Oh, did you get a haircut? How cute. Okay. But negative information expressed directly is not a really good thing to do. That was a bad sentence, sorry. All right, so you have few friends because you're rude is not as polite as the unreal condition. You'd have more friends if you were more polite, or even better, you might have more friends if you were more polite. Now, is it positive information? No, it's still criticism. And you still have to consider that criticism is criticism. It hurts and can provoke a negative reaction. But you can at least make it softer, more diplomatic, more polite, so that the reaction's not as bad as it might have been otherwise. Okay? Your son fails his test because he doesn't study enough. Lazy, ugly baby. All right, well, that's pretty direct. A teacher would not normally say that to the parents of one of the students. Teachers, in fact, have to find very delicate, careful ways of pointing out what someone doesn't do well so the person can improve. And one of those ways might be to use an unreal condition. If your son studied harder, he might do better on his tests. Okay, now the fact that an unreal condition has been used here suggests that the teacher doesn't think this will really happen. The parent still might not be happy, but at least the parent has been given some advice about what to do instead of a very direct use of a word like fail, very negative. We get, you can do this or could do this to improve in this, instead of, you're bad at this because you do that. Okay? Again, the message, of course, is important, but the way you express that message is also important, because the purpose of communication has to be kept in mind. We must keep in mind the purpose of our communication. If we're trying to get someone to improve something or to change his or her mind or to agree with us or whatever we're trying to accomplish, we have to adjust our tone, including tone of voice, word choice, grammatical structure, and so on, in a way that will produce the result we are looking for, or at least contribute to the possibility of reaching that result, achieving that result. All right. Okay, this next one's a very good example. I think they're all good. They're all my babies. My examples are my babies because they come from me, you know. I give them birth. All right, but anyway, please bring me another cup of coffee. Now, you might be saying to yourself, but I said please. What do you want? I said please, Americans, you picky people. Please is enough, right? But no, it's not. Please is absolutely better than not saying please. Bring me a cup of coffee. Your coffee is probably going to have spit in it because it's really not a polite way to ask for it. Please bring me another cup of coffee, however, is still a command. It's grammatically a command, meaning it's an imperative sentence, and it will be taken as a command. Now, could you please bring me another cup of coffee when you have a moment? Functions as a command, but grammatically, it's not imperative. It's not telling someone to do something, it's asking, even though the result is the same. The listener knows that you're not really asking a question, but that you're really making a polite request. Now notice that I'm using the unreal, well, not unreal, but subjunctive or conditional forms here. So the conditional, could you please? All right, and that is polite requests. Something you might notice while we're on the topic of unreal and conditional forms being used for politeness, you might notice that polite people at a restaurant, like at McDonald's even at fast food, would say something like, I would like a cheeseburger, instead of I want a cheeseburger or get me a cheeseburger. All right, now I don't mean that everybody says that, but my goal is not to teach you just how to talk like everybody, but rather how to be polite, or at least know how to be polite. If you don't want to be polite, you don't have to. You can punch people in the face, curse them, insult their mothers, but I want you to at least know how to be polite if you want to be. All right. So again, at a restaurant, for example, excuse me, sir, when you have a moment, could you please bring me another cup of coffee? All right, that's good. That's why there's this big happy smiley face to the left of him here. All right. Okay, the next one. Everyone hates you because you're a liar. Okay, well, people might like you more if you were more honest. Communicates basically the same idea. Okay, now something else that goes along with this, I would recommend as an even better revision, people might like you more, or you might get along better with people if you told the truth more often. Okay, so if we go back to the first one, the same thing I would suggest instead of you would have more friends if you were more polite, that even better, you'd have more friends if you treated people with more respect. This comes back to a principle that is as much ethical and related to manners as it is to language. And that's that, especially from the perspective of an English speaker, it's more polite and more constructive to focus on someone's behavior than the person's character when you're saying something bad, when you're saying something negative. Okay, so you are rude, attack somebody's character. It's like you're a rude person. That's a characteristic, a permanent part of your personality that seems like it can't change. It would be nice if you treated people with more respect. That talks about behavior. All right, now talking about behavior gives people the feeling that they can change that behavior. It also makes it so you can defend yourself if they say, "Did you say I'm rude?" No, no, I just said it would be nice to be more polite to people. Okay, so everyone hates you because you're a liar is obviously bad. You might get along better with others if you told the truth more often, is the most polite way to say this, but people might like you more if you were honest. Is still blunt enough to really communicate the idea while being polite enough to avoid a direct confrontation. Okay, let's look at the next one. You lost because you made too many mistakes. Okay, well, clearly, when someone has lost or failed, the person doesn't want to have that rubbed in his face, like a dog having his face put in his mess. You might have won if you'd made fewer mistakes is a lot more positive. It feels like, well, with just a few, with just a handful of mistakes fewer, winning could have been possible. Okay. All right. I can't help you because you asked me too late. Okay. If you use that in the workplace, ooh, ouch. You are going to ruin your workplace relationships. If other people talk to you that way, that doesn't mean they're talking the right way. It doesn't mean they're being polite. Remember that there are rude people who speak English as a first language, so you don't want to think that hearing native speakers do something means it's okay. I can't help you because you asked me too late, like being slapped in the face. I could have helped you if you'd asked me earlier, expresses the same idea, but it removes that impolite feeling. Okay, and finally, unlike the others, this one does not talk about others' behavior. It's not criticism. I don't have enough time to relax. That's fine, no problem. But it sounds a little bit whiny, complaining, I'm a big whiny baby. I don't have time to relax. Right? When I wish I had more time to relax is a little bit more positive because it's focusing on what you want instead of focusing on what you don't have. All right. Well, I hope you learned something from this. If not, I hope you were at least entertained by me making a fool of myself, pretending to be a baby and stuff like that. All right. Take care. See you later.